We do have a quorum. The quorum is 30, and I stopped counting about midway here, so we've got great turnout. Thank you all so much for coming. I am really excited about this meeting today because Chuck is going to present on quality of healthcare at Westminster. And I'm going to rush us through the agenda a little bit so that we can have a full 30 minutes. At 2:30, my alarm's going to go off to remind me if I've not watched the clock well enough. And I want to have 30 minutes between 2:30 and 3 for Chuck to not only make his presentation, but to also have some time to answer questions. So thank you all for being here. First of all, we want to recognize our guest, and our guest is Paul Hilgers from the board. And I don't see him right now, but he is the chair of the board and of Westminster's board. And so I'll probably holler at him once he comes in if I catch him. So let's go, first of all, to the moment of remembrance, and let's just take a moment and look at these names and reflect on these friends. Thank you. And then you have a handout of the names of the 47 new resident move-ins. And I just want to ask everybody that's on this list that's a new resident that's just moved in, would you all stand and let us welcome you? And now I'd like to call on Mikhail Shackelford. If you could come up to the podium, please, and we're here. Be careful, there's a wire down there. You have the first quarterly meeting minutes in your packet.
I stand before you as your substitute. I stand as a sub for Lori Humphreys, your secretary, who's off on a summer sabbatical with her family in New York State. I'm sure she'd rather be here, but she understands. I move the approval of the minutes from the April 10th quarterly meeting of the Westminster Residents Association.
Is there a second? Hold your hand up.
Gary.
Okay, Sherry.
Jerry Smith.
Oh, Jerry Smith, thank you. Jerry Smith. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Mikhail, and we really appreciate your help. And now Sharon Verlander. And while she's coming up, I just saw Paul Hilgers. He's in the orange shirt right there. Welcome, Paul.
Everyone here should have received a copy of the financials. It's in your package, balance sheet and profit and loss. This represents the first 2 quarters of 2023. Yeah, I'm out of breath. Can't breathe. Anybody have any questions about the financials?
You want to move first? Mikhail has come on as the assistant secretary and has a wonderful experience of having been a secretary and parliamentarian for the State Board of Medical Examiners. So she's helping us clean up our act on using Robert's rules, and so Robert's rules are such that you make a motion and then you have discussion. So
I make a motion to accept the financials as you have it. Any questions?
Charlie made a second. Okay, discussion, questions? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
The motion is passed. The next item in your packet is just a handout about hidden treasures. And I just want to point out to you that Hidden Treasures is in transition. If you look at number 4, the bottom, beginning in September, donations will be able to be dropped off once a week in the Hidden Treasures room on the Preston ground floor. In the meantime, this handout gives you the policies and procedures about how we're handling Hidden Treasures right now. And is Julie here?
No.
Okay, Sharon is here, so if anyone has any questions, please see Sharon. Charlie McEwen's involved as well, and Bernie Ship. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the Alzheimer's Texas fundraiser, so I want to ask Pat Wright to come up. Is Debbie Hanna here yet?
Yeah.
Right here? Oh, yay, come on up.
You go ahead and I'll do. Want to come with me? Okay.
Let's give her a welcome.
Thank you. As Ruth knows, I have a new knee. I would have just jumped right up here from the center, but I decided to play it safe and come over to the stairs and almost tripped on the wire. Thank you again, Charles, Ruth, all the volunteers, the residents, Pat, for taking a leadership role. Alzheimer's Texas, as you know, is the largest and oldest support organization in Central Texas for families and caregivers with Alzheimer's. We have also, as you remember from years past, expanded our reach into supporting research through the Texas legislature, research through 10 medical schools in the state of Texas. We were active with all of our hundreds of advocates and volunteers during the session. And although the state was giving out billions of dollars, we didn't succeed in getting billions, but we picked up another $10 million for Alzheimer's research grant studies that I have shared with some of you downstairs in the hall when we had a private meeting to talk about Texas research. We received right under $10 million, which pushes our total with Alzheimer's Texas advocates to over $70 million for research. We operate as, it actually goes to young researchers. When I say young, they're 12 years post-terminal degree. That's the biggest need at the medical schools right now. For those of you familiar with university research, big organizations, corporations, biotech, they throw millions of dollars at the well-established and well-recognized researchers. But it's the young men and women who are 10 or 12 years post-terminal degree. They're coming out sometimes with an MD and a PhD. They usually have a spouse, they usually have children, they usually have a lot of college debt. And so adding the burden of social contacts and raising money within their research core is foreign to them. They're scientists. And so we have encouraged the organization that is seated right now at UT Southwestern to redirect these grants to these young researchers, 10 to 12 years post-terminal. So they're in their early 40s, 40 to 42 years old. And they're excited to get the money. They usually don't get large amounts. They get $175,000 to $200,000. You know, the big time operators are looking for $2 and $3 million on the big grants, but we're proud to be part of that. Our organization, we have hundreds of volunteers. We organize, mentor, and support by grant 40 support groups run by volunteers all over Central Texas. Georgetown, Lampasas, Austin, South Austin, Kyle, Buda. We also support, organize, and mentor 15 respites in Central Texas. These are primarily at churches and synagogues, 2 are at senior centers. There where individuals, caregivers can drop off their loved one or neighbor, whoever they're concerned with, for a morning, usually 9 or 10 to noon. They'll play some cards, play some music, visit with their friends, have a snack, and it gives the caregiver a good 4 hours off to pay bills or get a manicure or take a long walk, whatever is easiest for them. We've shifted a little bit since I talked to you all last year in that all of our services now, all of our clients are smarter, they're more savvy on the computer, they're more technology oriented. So all of our services now are provided by licensed credentialed professionals. Our 24-hour helpline is live answered 24/7, but the calls are returned or directed to a licensed clinical social worker, master's level. And there's no limit, really. We try, if somebody is still having trouble after 3 or 4 calls, we try to hold the calls to less than 30 to 40 minutes, and we try to encourage people to move to the next level after 3 calls, but we've handled many, our social worker has handled many families or crises that are more than 3 calls. The other thing is our online learning, which I told Charles and Ruth about. We have gone to all webinar, YouTube channel, and virtual learning on the front page of txalz.org. And I'm gonna see if I can't get a sign up in the elevator, because everybody else has got one, so I'm gonna try to put one up too. That would direct you to some of our learning seminars. And all of our seminars, for some of you I know have been on them, we offer them live twice a month. We're only gonna do one a month in July and August because people are traveling. But we have 40 that are warehoused on our website. They have video presentations and slides. There are live participants. We pixelate their faces for privacy, but the subject matter is listed right on the homepage, and they're very beneficial, very beneficial. The one I listened to recently was anticipatory grief, but they are, the curriculum is planned and delivered by Professor Joan Ossoff at the Hicks College of Social Work at the University of Texas at Austin. So we're very thrilled that we can offer professional level service for these individuals.
We thank you so much for
Okay.
all that you and your organization do.
Come on up, Pat. Oh, I got it. 30 minutes. Oh, I know.
Thank you. I'm happy to be able to say a word or two about Alzheimer's. And I want to tell a little bit about my history. I'm going to be very as brief as possible. But I have been a fan of Westminster's Healthcare Center for many years. I volunteered in the 80s long before we ever thought of moving here. So, and I have continued, and I now still volunteer in the assisted living. That's just a little part of my life, and I am totally impressed with our healthcare center, which our healthcare center has nothing to do with Alzheimer's other than it does. Because what I want to say is that the money received does not go to Westminster because we are taken care of. That's the bottom line. If any of us have any problems that deal with Alzheimer's or anything else, we have the facility here and we're taken care of. The money we raise is going to the community and to people who are not as fortunate as we are. So that's my beginning line, and I wanted you to realize that all the money also stays in Texas. This is Alzheimer's Texas. So I want to tell you about our Alzheimer's Texas kickoff fundraiser. That's why I'm here. Thursday, and you need to put this on your calendar, but there'll be a lot of flyers out, and you'll see it. But Alzheimer's Texas fundraiser starts Thursday, July the 27th at 11:30 to 2:30. My voice is coming and going. We're going to have a food truck festival in the courtyard, in the Preston courtyard. And Pete Terry's will be one of the food trucks. And for $10, you can get a hamburger and all the trimmings and a gourmet cookie. And free O's gourmet popsicles. They're not just regular popsicles, they're gourmet popsicles. So you need to put this on your calendar and be sure to come. And if you can't come, and if you forget it,
drop off money at the front desk. All donations are accepted. Any front desk at any building will take your donation if you forget to come, or if you just have a little extra money you want to put in the pot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat. Okay, you have a handout at the very back of these handouts. And our executive committee of the Residents Association voted at our last meeting to approve having shorts. It's summertime, and we have lots of guests, and we have lots of residents here that wanted both to wear shorts and to have some clarification. It's not easy to understand, and so I want to thank Bernie Schiff for this color-coded diagram. It's the only thing that we printed in color, but hopefully you can put this on your refrigerator or the back of your door, and you can see the times that our dining rooms are open and when you can and can't have wear shorts. The other thing about that is that when the Laurel lounge is completed, we will revisit these dress code rules. So if you are not happy with any aspect of these as they are right now, there'll be another chance to try it and revise it. But Charlie McEwen in the back, hold your hand, Charlie, chairs the food committee. And if you would make anything that you are concerned about with this dress code written to him, he will collect that information, and then our executive committee will revisit once we have that. Okay, then. The tree lounge is outside the Rowan. Outside the Rowan.
Not outdoors.
Right, it's not under the tree. Good question. The lounge area,
Oh, you can wear shorts there.
yes, okay. Anyway, there's the hours and there's, when we can wear shorts. And we may want to change this, whenever we open the other, but for sure, it's always up for revision. Okay, in the back of the room is Sarah Schiff, who is subbing for Sue Gilliam, who is out of town. But if any of you all would like one of the nice beaded necklaces to wear our fobs, or not fobs, our emergency pendant, thank you. Our emergency pendants on, please see those back there. And all of you all that have helped Sue make those, would you stand and be recognized? Is anyone in here that has helped? There we go. Thank you all very much. Thank you. And now I'd like to ask Cynthia Leach to come on up.
Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Leach. I've lived in the Windsor since 2015. And I'm here to speak briefly today about a scholarship at the Austin Community College Foundation that the Westminster Residents Association, often you'll hear WRA, that's what I'm talking about, endowed in December of 2021. I'm the liaison between the WRA and the ACC Foundation, so I'm actively involved. In fact, bought this shirt yesterday just so you all will know my support for ACC in the scholarship program.
All right.
This scholarship is intended for ACC students in the areas of culinary arts, nursing, and medical technology. Through this scholarship, we hope to enhance the reputation of senior living centers as a great place to work and develop careers, and just maybe will benefit if we get some of these recipients working here while they're attending school. We hope for that to happen. Our original endowed contribution was $15,000. As a result of additional contributions from the WRA and 16 residents or their family members, we now have a balance as of July 7th of $47,390. That's something we can all be proud of. Our initial goal was $50,000 because we were told that the money that ACC Foundation invests will earn just about $2,500 a year, and that's enough to cover a full year of scholarship at ACC, which is about a fourth of other schools around here, so it's a real bargain. We'll be awarding our first $2,500 scholarship in the fall, and my intention is to bring that recipient here for our October meeting so everyone can meet them. So I would ask that we continue to build on our scholarship so that we can offer many full-year scholarships going forward. So please consider contributing to the scholarship for anything such as a thank you or a death or anniversary or any kind of those special events that happen in your life. I have donation cards and envelopes with me. All the donations go directly to ACC Foundation. The WRA doesn't handle those. So I have cards and envelopes with me if anybody's interested or if you have any questions. And one last thing I wanted to say is I went on their website right before I came, and we are the only senior living facility to have a scholarship at the ACC. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Cynthia. Okay, the final thing under the President's report is strategic planning, and you have this message from the President. Last month in the banner, I asked you all to respond to 4 questions, and they're written here. I got some excellent feedback, but I wanted to get more, and so this handout is intended to remind you, part of hearing Chuck's presentation today is that I want you to see if you can pick up on what the principles of patient-centered care are, because we want to implement resident-centered care, both in the strategic planning process that our board has ongoing, but also in our committees as we listen to what people are concerned about, are excited about, are happy with, and then that feed into the executive committee. The Westminster Residents Association mission, summarized, is to teach and serve residents and to advise management. The bylaws say represent the interest of residents. And so as you hear about the incredible progress that Chuck Borst has accomplished, see if you can identify principles that you would like to see us implement to have resident-centered care. I started as your president last year. I spent the first 15 months listening to anybody that wanted to talk to me. And one of the first things that came out of that is the _1 issue last year was the finances of Westminster. Thanks to Joanne McKenzie and John Selman, and lots of others of you all that sent in questions. Chuck made a fantastic presentation last year about our finances, the finances of Westminster. He will be updating that, so now is the time for you to get in any, especially you all that are new, get your questions in, and let's see at the 3rd quarterly meeting if we can have the updated version of that and get people feeling more comfortable. I had people tell me after that meeting that they lived here 12 years and never knew that much about the Westminster finances. So that was a home run, Chuck, a home run. So we want to see another one. The other one though, this year, actually last year, number 2, this year, what I've heard mostly from residents is concern about our healthcare services. And I believe that the major reason and ultimate reason that people select Westminster is because of our healthcare. It is phenomenal. Here is the man now to come and tell us how 15 years ago, when he was the administrator for the harbor, Westminster had lots and lots of challenges and issues and, I don't know, 47 deficiencies or whatever else.
Only 17.
17, oh, that's way too many anyway. He was able to come in and in a matter of perseverance, persistence, and a desire to make the services patient-centered. One of the major things he did was get the restraints off of everybody. People, every nursing home in the state still is involved in some of this. The worst ones, this is the main way they control people that are, quote, problems, is they bind them in their wheelchairs or tie them down in their beds or over-medicate. We don't do that here, but we also do lots of other great things. So, please, after you hear this presentation, I wanted to get to it by 2:30 so that Chuck would have a good 30 minutes to present, but also give you a chance to ask some questions. So, Chuck, thank you so much.
So, Paul Hilgers is here, chair of our board, and he would like just a minute or two to talk to you. Let's welcome Paul to the stage.
Thank you. It's still 2 minutes until 2:30. So I have 2 minutes. And my two bosses, with Jake Pickle and Nancy Barnes, would always tell me, former bosses would tell me, never pass up an opportunity to get to a microphone if you can. And so I wanted to do that really quickly for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to thank you again. I want to thank the board members that are here. I see Diane's out there and she's always here. But any other board members, secondly, thank the resident board members that are here. Obviously, Camille, Jim, Bob, you guys are awesome. I want to thank everybody who's ever been a resident board member. And I want to welcome all the new people that are here, the new residents, and tell you that it is a great honor to serve on this board and that we take this job very seriously and that you have a challenge. I really wanted to challenge all of you. You've been challenged a lot the last few years. Your patience will tell you that the renovations, we had the grand opening for the Carlisle, we're done with construction for a while. We're looking at phase 4, which brings a lot more amenities, but that won't start until, if we go forward with it, until December of 2024. So you have a break from construction. My challenge to you is to continue to be the great community that you are, welcoming the new folks, making sure that you include all of the people who, all the way from the Preston, all the way to the Carlisle. We're now a very large community, and that's going to require a lot of patience and a lot of communication and a lot of dedication on your part, which y'all are excellent at. I will tell you that one of the things that you're going to hear about this quality care, especially for new residents, there's going to be a phase where you got to sit there and go, this is all just too good to be true. Well, how's the food? Not too good to be true, because they eat it all the time and it's really great. The health care that you have here is second to none. The quality of the place that people work, that they work in here has been named best place to work in Austin for many years, and it's because of the leadership and the dedication of this man right here. So let's listen to him, and it's 2:30. Thank you very much.
Okay. like to start off with a little humor. This heat wave is brutal. Not only is it hot enough to fry an egg on the sidewalk, but you can use your mailbox as a toaster oven. True story. Hot outside? Shovel. In God's kitchen, what are you cooking? Texas, why? All right, so let's talk about quality. I get a lot of questions from many of you because I do presentations, and when I do presentations, I try to talk about our accomplishments, right? As an organization, as a community. And we get a lot of accolades and awards, and a lot of you are curious about where they come from. How do we achieve them? So I get a lot of emails and questions about that. These are some of them, some of the most important ones. Best Nursing Home Honor Roll from U.S. News and World Report. U.S. News and World Report Best Senior Living, Independent Living, and Assisted Living. We're 5-star quality rated by the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. And this is our 15th year of being 5-star rated. Our management company, LCS, who I work for, received the J.D. Power Award for Senior Living for the 4th year. The AIR Award for 10 years of deficiency-free state assisted living surveys and inspections. So let's talk about best U.S. News and World Report. Skilled nursing, this is long-term and short-term care. Best ranking for rehabilitation, best ranking for assisted living, and best ranking for senior living. So this ranking, this award is provided to Westminster by U.S. News and World Report based on our quality measures. And those are rankings as reported to the state and from CMS to U.S. News and World Report. So it ranks us and our quality measures like falls and injuries, pressure sores and things like that. And so the better we score, the better ranked we are in our quality. In independent living and assisted living, the rankings are determined by resident satisfaction and performance measures like occupancy being high, financial metrics, as well as resident satisfaction. So the Arbor at Westminster has been 5-star rated for 15 years by the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. We went from 1 to 4 stars in the first 6 months of 2008, and in the following 6 months we achieved 5 stars. So by the end of 2008 we had achieved 5 stars. And this ranking is awarded by Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and only 10% of the communities, state and nationwide, are capable of achieving a 5-star rating. The fact that we've done it for 15 years in a row is incredible. Nobody does it. It's based on quality measures that we submit to the state. So we have to submit an MDS, a minimum data set on every single person that lives in our healthcare centers. And it's based on readmission rates to the hospital, injuries, pressure, weight loss, medications, infections, resident health and well-being overall. It's also based on our staffing and our state survey. So every year we receive a random survey from the state. They come into our healthcare center and our assisted living and they inspect us. And they spend about 5 days looking at every piece of data you could possibly imagine. They pull several charts of residents that live in our healthcare center or assisted living, and they dive deep into those to make sure that we're doing everything we're supposed to be doing, and that what we're submitting on these minimum data sets is the truth. So they're auditing us. They audit everybody across the country. So it's very unusual to achieve that 5-star rating for so many years. It's interesting, when I was doing my research for this presentation to get it to update it, I wanted to look at our readmission rate this year and compare it to the industry average. So this means that people that are admitted to our healthcare center from the hospital are less likely to be readmitted to the hospital because they got sick in our healthcare center. The industry average is about 16.4% of people that are admitted to a skilled nursing have to go back to the hospital within the first 30 days, and ours is 0. which is fantastic. And also, it's interesting, of those residents discharged home in the industry from a skilled nursing facility, there's a 25.9% chance that they'll return to the hospital within 30 days. And if you're at Westminster, that is 0%. And so that means if you're here, the chances, and you go to our healthcare center, you go to skilled nursing or assisted living, the chances of you having to go back to the hospital for an illness are almost none. That's great. So let's talk about J.D. Power for a minute. It's a national award. Most of you know that. There are various J.D. Power awards given. They're examining the industry level performance and satisfaction. And so the satisfaction that life care service communities like Westminster are given by the residents. And that's resident activities, which are activities, they're fantastic, they're incredible. Community staff, value, apartment home satisfaction, building and grounds, and dining. We swept all 6 categories and have done that for the last 4 years. So the AIR Award is given by our management company, Life Care Services. That means an achievement in regulatory excellence, and it's based on state survey results that we receive annually. Assisted living qualifies if deficiency free. So if they come in for the state inspection and if the assisted living is deficiency free, then they qualify for this award. Westminster's assisted living has been deficiency free for now 11 years. That's really incredible. Very few people achieve that as well. So the Harrison Award, which you may hear about over the next couple months, this is an award that is given by our management company, Life Care Services, and it's named after a lady named Mary Harrison. And she worked for Life Care Services for 40 years. Incredible lady, but she was all about improving the quality of care that our healthcare centers, our skilled nursing facilities provided. And so they named an award after her. It's also based on state survey results. So if you have deficiency-free surveys, then you can qualify for this award. And the Arbor qualifies because it had a deficiency-free survey last year, and the Arbor at Westminster has received the last 3 years out of 4 years deficiency-free surveys. And so, very few people achieve this. We'll be doing a celebration with the healthcare center staff. Actually, all staff will be receiving a polo shirt, and we're going to be doing a party the next few weeks. Some other achievements, accolades, awards that we received. 5-star Sinsite Resident Satisfaction Award. So this is given to senior living communities that achieve top tier in resident satisfaction. And so we achieved in 2022, 96% of our residents would recommend Westminster to a friend or loved one. That's 12% above the industry average. 97% of resident satisfaction were satisfied with the handling of the pandemic here at Westminster. We had 89% participation. My goal was 90%. We missed it by 1%. Maybe bigger cocktail parties next year that participate. We'll be doing it again next year. We do it about every 2 years. And overall, we've received a 93%, which is the top tier, which gets you the 5-star award. So that's where that comes from. It's awarded by Sinsite Surveys, which is a company that specializes in senior living resident satisfaction, resident experience surveys. You must achieve top tier satisfaction in every category. You're compared to senior living communities across the country, and only the top 10% of communities across the country can achieve 5-star rating. That's where that comes from. Top workplace for the 9th year. We hope this year will be rated top workplace again. Heartfelt Connections 2022 Bronze Award. I'll tell you what those 2 things are. So Top Workplaces is produced by Austin American Statesman, We've achieved it for 9 consecutive years, and we hope to achieve it again in 23. This is achieved through confidential associate engagement survey results that are completed online. So every year, our associates fill out a satisfaction survey, an experience survey, and they rank us on everything from hours, life-work balance, benefits, wages, everything, culture, and then they put all of this information into a database and they pick top tier performers for top workplaces. We've achieved that for 9 years in a row, and we hope this is going to be the 10th year. Westminster has, you might as well know while I'm talking about associate satisfaction, that Westminster has the highest employee retention rate among all the communities in the LCS portfolio of 150 across the country. And this was achieved while parking off-site and adding staff for the Carlisle. So Heartfelt Connections is really our memory support program, and we received a bronze. A bronze is 3rd place, but we're ranked against the other communities in the LCS portfolio. And there are certain criteria like family support group that we haven't implemented yet because there hasn't been a lot of interest. But we hope to kick those things off and push us to a gold award in 2023. So a couple things that really drive our quality I think are important to talk about. Hospitality promises and hospitality training, as well as CARES. Mrs. Miller mentioned centered around person-centered care, right? And CARES for us, as Westminster CARES, is centered around resident-empowered services. Westminster, our assisted living, our harbor at Westminster, places residents call home. A place where someone lives and calls home should nurture the human spirit as well as meet the medical needs of our residents. Culture change is a movement to promote a person-centered model of care. The goal is to deinstitutionalize the facility to create an environment that follows the residents' routines rather than those imposed by the facility. So instead of doing things the way the facility wants to do it and giving your medications then, we should meet you where you're at and do the things that you're used to doing in your life. So we should learn those things. And reducing restraints and alarms and all of those things, those were keys to turning the page on Westminster's healthcare and becoming more patient-centered. For us, it seems really silly, but the first thing that I brought was a cartoon. Similar to cartoons that I start my presentations with. I usually do some kind of funny cartoon. But I wanted our associates to think about what they were doing every day. And it started with this cartoon. Honey, I've been through 2 world wars, the Great Depression, taught 3,297 children, administered 4 elementary schools, and outlived every one of the pastors I work with. I'm 89 years old and you're telling me it's bedtime. And the thing was that at the time that I started, they were telling people it was bedtime at 7 o'clock. There's still some living to do after 7 o'clock. How many of you go to bed at 7? 8? 9? Okay, I figured I'd get 9. But the point is, you have done all of these things. You've lived your life, an incredible life. Many of you have managed businesses, run households, and all of the things you did. And we were thinking that we knew better, right? That we knew what you needed to eat. We knew when you needed to eat it. We knew what time you needed to go to bed because we're healthcare professionals. And what they were doing is making everybody miserable. And so I challenged the associates to think of person-centered care, resident-centered care from this perspective. If you were this resident, if this was your mother, if this was your grandmother, how would you want to be treated? And I don't think, telling somebody to go to bed at 7 o'clock and turning their thermostat down to 60 degrees to keep them in the bed is the way that you want to be treated. That's what they were doing. And then, and I'm just gonna give you some examples of things that they were doing. And then, so you went to bed at 7 o'clock, and then they woke you up throughout the night to do vital signs on you, right? And this happens to you in the hospital, I bet, sometimes. There are ways to avoid that, right? And activities, they should be based on the activities that you want to do. The food that you eat should be the kind of food that you want to eat. So we implemented this thing called Person-Centered Care, CARES, centered around resident-empowered services. And in our first year of CARES, we reduced the agency use by 95%. We reduced the turnover in our associates by 44%. We reduced weight loss by 50%. We decreased pressure ulcers by 88%. We decreased falls by 50%. And we had an 83% reduction in the use of psychotropic medications, meaning we weren't snowing people anymore. We weren't chemically restraining people. And we also had a significant increase in resident and staff satisfaction, because we found out that if it's easier to provide the kind of care that residents want when they want it and how they want it. And so if you get to do that, then it's more fun being an associate here, right? It's more fun to provide. And then the residents are happier, so they started enjoying life, and you didn't have a bunch of people unhappy and having alarms yell at them or whatever it was, and all of a sudden everybody started perking up. Imagine that. So how do we rank so well? So the 5-star rated for 15 years, it's really the outstanding quality indicators, like the readmission to hospital rate being so low, the weight losses being so low. All of those things have continued to improve year after year because it evolves. Resident-centered care gets better and better and better because we're learning the residents. Top workplace for 9 years, high associate satisfaction. It's easy to have high associate satisfaction if there's a mutual respect between the resident and the associate. And you see that every day. So what person-centered care does is it focuses on the needs and the care preferences of every resident that lives in healthcare, assisted living, or independent living. It's care that values the uniqueness of the individual. I had a lady one time, and I'm an old food and beverage guy, but I had a lady one time that wanted cream of mushroom soup and chocolate milk at lunch and dinner. That's all she wanted. And they weren't giving her cream of mushroom soup and chocolate milk. Now, to me, that sounds kind of nasty. Maybe to you too. Not much variety there. But they were trying, they would sit down in front of her, you know, a pork chop and mashed potatoes and gravy and bread and green beans. And she wouldn't eat it. And so she would lose weight. And they're like, what's going on with her? We need to give her some medication so that she'll eat. And so they would sit down and, you know, hamburger and french fries in front of her. She didn't want to eat it. And she thought that the look of it was appalling. So I go to her and I ask her, just say Mrs. Smith. Sorry to use Mrs. Smith, but it's a common word, common name. What would you like to eat? I'd really like cream of mushroom soup and 2 cartons of chocolate milk. Okay. We gave her cream of mushroom soup, 2 cartons of chocolate milk, and she got that at lunch and dinner, and she got super sewer. She loved oatmeal. So she had oatmeal for breakfast, but we put a little protein powder in it, some brown sugar and some butter, and that's what she ate every single day, but she was happy. And she stopped losing weight. And then we didn't need to give her supplements anymore. The Ensure shakes that she didn't like to drink, she didn't have to. And she stopped losing weight, she was happy. And her life totally turned around. She became engaged in activities. She got out of her room. She enjoyed life, and she had an abundant life. And her family couldn't understand why she wanted to eat cream of mushroom soup and chocolate milk, but who cares, as long as she was happy, right? And so that's what we did. Person-centered care maintains and restores personal identity, keeps the person at the center of the care planning process and the decision-making process. If you go to my healthcare center, our healthcare center, skilled nursing, the Arbor we call it, and you ask for a screwdriver, and I don't mean the kind you use to screw in a wall plate, I'm talking about an orange juice screwdriver. Every afternoon at 2 o'clock, how many of you believe you're going to get it? You raise up your hand because you will get it, absolutely. Will we have to care plan it? We'll have to write a note about it, but yes, we will. And if you want a piece of chocolate cake every afternoon at 4 o'clock, that's what you're going to get. And if you're a diabetic, we'll help you manage it with insulin. If you eat cream of mushroom soup every day and you need vitamins, we'll get you a vitamin pill. Maybe it's a Flintstones pill, I don't know, but we'll get you taken care of the way that you want to be taken care of. Person-centered care promotes personal worth, social confidence, respect, truthfulness, independence, engagement, choice, and hope. Person-centered values means know each person and anticipate their needs. One of the things that was going on when I started to work here as the administrator was everybody was on a rotating assignment. This was big silliness. What they were doing is they would change the CNAs every day not to work the same hall. So you would rotate, and there was 4 halls, so you just rotate constantly. So what happened was there was no relationship with the residents in that situation. You couldn't anticipate your needs because you didn't know the residents. You were constantly changing. So one of the first things I changed was you're going to work the same hall with the same residents, and you're going to get to know them, create relationship with them, love them, and know them. And then you're going to be able to anticipate their needs. So when people's needs are met, guess what? They don't fall as much. Most falls are caused by an unmet need in skilled nursing. Hopes, dreams, and goals are central to their care. Some of our residents have learned, some of you may have learned to paint in your 80s. Just because you're in a nursing home or senior living doesn't mean you've ended up. You continue to enjoy life, love life, live it, learn new things, and that's a change in the philosophy that they had prior to 2008. Being included in creating their individual plan of care, choice, dignity and respect, self-determination, and purposeful living. Empowerment, care centered and driven by the person receiving the care. Not a nurse that's sitting in an office thinking that they know what's best for you. Put the person before the task, and do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And an emphasis on relationships building in a home atmosphere. How does person-centered care benefit the residents? You have autonomy and can direct your care. Choices promote engagement and improvement quality of life. Life and environment of trust and respect. Close relationship with staff that are attuned to their changes and can respond appropriately. So if you're working with the same residents day after day and you get to know the residents, you understand when things change and when they've had a decline, and you can address it quickly and you can prevent a lot of sickness and infection that way. You continue to live in a way that is meaningful to you. Benefits for the staff. Form strong relationships, know a person's preferences, are more comfortable caring for people they know. Staff are highly valued in person-centered care organizations. They work more efficiently in person-centered care environments because they know the residents, and they discover renewed passion for their work. And when I came to work here, the associate satisfaction was around 46%. In our first 6 months, we raised that to 86%, with just this philosophy change. Benefits for the community, quite frankly, becomes a place where everyone can continue to live and make choices. You have better quality outcomes. You gain referrals from people who have a good experience. You have better staff retention, which we talked about earlier, right? Higher satisfaction scores for residents and staff. What is culture change? It's the progression from institutional models of care to more individual, person-directed practices that embrace autonomy. The vision is to create a culture of aging that is inclusive, life-affirming, satisfying, humane, and meaningful. Culture change requires changes in organizational practices, physical environments, workplace practices, and relationships. From the resident's perspective, I have the right to determine how best to meet my goals, my needs. It must include me, my family, and team in decision-making. My care must be empowering, nurturing, and respectful. My care should optimize my physical and psychosocial well-being, and nothing about me without me, right? Person-centered care is all about people living the lives they want to live in the best way that they can. And it's our jobs to help them do that. Culture change and the impact on residents. So residents that are part of a culture change, a person-centered community, they experience overall health stability, increased quality of life and quality of care, reduction in weight losses, reductions in medications, improved social engagement, improved overall satisfaction, more abundant life, empowerment, and joy. Staff, they feel empowered, they have ownership. You will retain more staff, which reduces turnover, which saves the community money. Increased overall satisfaction, renewed passion for their work, relationship building, and joy. Did you know that Texas is the worst state in the union when it comes to quality of care in nursing homes? That's sad. I asked the internet this the other day, and it says it's for the third straight report card, nursing home quality in Texas continues to be the worst in the nation. So you've heard me talk about the Texas Culture Change Coalition, which I happen to be president of. Westminster helped found the Texas Culture Change Coalition back in 2010. And we're working to improve Texas by using the philosophy and the tools that we used here at Westminster. The Texas Culture Change Coalition is dedicated to transforming the culture of long-term care provided to aging or disabled Texans. This is a website if you ever want to look it up. My next presentation, Mrs. Miller is going to be joining me. We're going to be addressing the Quality Long-Term Care Conference. It's about 600 attendees on August the 21st here in Austin. And the conference name is Making a Commitment to Person-Centered Long-Term Care, which is a great advance for Texas because they haven't been thinking about this for quite some time. Another program that I want to touch on just quickly is, and you asked me, a lot of you ask me when we have lunch or when I see you, how do the staff become so caring and so hospitable? They really do a great job at hospitality here. And it's a training program called Extraordinary Impressions that we teach all of our associates from the moment they walk in the door. Hospitality is more than customer service. We get customer service pretty much everywhere. You go to H-E-B and you go buy the milk, you give them some money, they give you the milk. They may say thank you. Nowadays, it's hard to get one of those. Hospitality is above and beyond customer service. For us, it's extraordinary impressions. We're trying to impress you. We're trying to wow you. Our goal every day is to impress, to be better tomorrow in every area than we were today. Extraordinary Impressions drives high quality customer experiences for everyone Westminster serves. We passionately and proudly differentiate ourselves this way. We meet and exceed customers' expectations when at all possible. We consistently demonstrate our service culture and recognize all who embody it. So those star cards that you fill out, we keep those, we tally those up. Those people get awards and monetary gifts at the end of the year. Our hospitality promises, there's 10 of them. And we teach our associates about these hospitality promises every day upon orientation, and we also have a refresher about every month. And you can see those listed here. I'm running out of time, so I'm gonna stop there. But I just wanna say that I'm very proud to be the executive director of Westminster. And you should be proud to be residents here. I know our associates are proud, right, Maria? Yes, to work here. They really are. Ruth, you think so? Yes. I'm telling you, this is an extraordinary place to live and work, and we do extraordinary things together every day. And not only do we work together here at Westminster, Mrs. Leach presenting on the ACC Foundation and all of the things that we're doing, we're trailblazing in senior living, and we're great examples. We are a shining city on the hill that other people are striving to be, and we're helping them be better than they are. And so those are the things that I'm about, and I think that's why we are where we're at. And I thank you all for this time.
It is 3 o'clock, and you're welcome to adjourn if you would like, but if anyone wants to ask questions, and we have someone in the back,
We'll do just 3 questions. Is that good?
Very proud of the standards here. And I'd like to ask, you said how you do your hospitality staff. How do the nursing staff and CNA staff,
They're trained on the very same hospitality promises that all of our staff are. So they receive the same hospitality training as hospitality ambassadors, servers in the dining room. Everybody's trained to the same level.
okay, but in the skilled nursing area and memory care, they're introduced to the care program where you get a one-on-one?
That's right,
And how often is that repeated?
all the time. Mr. Iverson.
I was just wondering, Chuck, as you look across the state and across the country, really, because we have friends looking for a place like this in Vermont. And one of the questions is, does a for-profit or a not-for-profit make a difference in these goals and how people approach them?
Okay, so, difficult for me to answer. I think it does, and there certainly is a difference in nonprofits accepting resident-centered care much easier than for-profits. I worked in the for-profit industry, and I can tell you that they can do it if they have a desire to do it. And if they did it, they would find their margins a little bit better, and their occupancy would be better as well. But it's a harder convincing them than it is the nonprofits like ourselves. I would agree with that, yeah. Sadly, because the more you do this, the more person-centered care you are, the better everything becomes. Your outcomes for the residents, your outcomes financially will improve. You won't have to market as desperately as they are, because word of mouth will drive their occupancy. And those that have truly embraced it have seen those changes. And there are some for-profit examples that have done it. So it's not impossible. But being a not-for-profit makes a big difference. Yes. Any other questions? Have time for one more.
Why don't you offer smaller portions with your meals?
You can ask for smaller portions. Yeah, so just ask your server for a half portion, and they will do that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. If that's your only problem, that's not too bad. All right, thank you all very much.
social time now, so there's food and beverage in the back. And now, if you have questions for Chuck Chat, go ahead and start getting those in. After this Sing Silly event, you may have other questions in the next Chuck Chat. We'll handle those. Thanks for coming, thanks for being here. Nothing about us without us.